Welcome to the 5-Minute Legal Master Series, where expert attorneys help you master important legal topics. Today, board-certified creditors' rights and business bankruptcy attorney Robert S. Bernstein discusses asset investigation.
We're going to talk about asset investigations in the context of a commercial collection or other recovery matter where knowing the debtor's asset picture is important to the decision-making process. There are three categories of, three sources of asset information, three categories of sources that I want to talk about. One is obvious, one is not so obvious, and one is questionable. Under the obvious category, we have things like real estate records. If your debtor owns real estate in the area, you should be able to find that by looking at the real estate records. Searching it by name, searching it by address. There are ways to either physically or electronically go to those records and find it. Similarly with vehicles. Each state has a registration process, a titling process for vehicles, and if they're titled vehicles, you should be able to find that out from the state records. There are services that you can hire to do this in the state capitals. Some states have it electronically searchable. Another obvious is if your adversary, if your debtor is a business, go look at the business or have somebody drive by. Is there an open business that has inventory or equipment or other assets of substance that you can see? Of course, that's helpful because if you drive by the business and it's closed and it's empty, that tells you something about your likelihood of recovery too. The not so obvious areas. Uniform Commercial Code filings. You probably know that the Uniform Commercial Code is a method of registering liens on personal property as distinguished from real property. So if there is a lien registered against a tractor in your debtor's name, the chances are your debtor has a tractor. It may be liened to somebody and may not have any equity, but there still is some value in knowing that there is a tractor that your debtor uses for some part of its business. So looking at UCC filings. Another is looking at other suits, other lawsuits filed against your debtor. You may think, well, if there are other suits, that means it's going to be more difficult to collect. Well, it may be, but also it will tell you something about who thinks your debtor owes them money. And it may tell you about the basis for that money. Perhaps your debtor bought things, bought inventory, bought equipment, bought furniture, fixtures, any of those things. That would give you an idea that your debtor might have those things. So that's a clue. The third point in not obvious is just logic. What kind of business is your debtor in? What kind of equipment or assets would your debtor be likely to have if it's in that business? Let's say, take it as simple as a plumber. If your debtor is a plumber, the chances are your debtor has some plumbing tools, maybe has a truck. If your debtor is a commercial plumber, may have a compressor, may have a trailer, may have some other piece of equipment that is logical to be part of the business tools of that kind of debtor. Now, the questionable category are things like bank account locating. Like someone once said about the way laws are made, you don't want to know what goes into them. Some of these things you might not want to know what goes into this agency finding this asset, like locating bank accounts. I'm not sure how that works, and I'm not sure whether there is any liability for using a service like that, but just be careful with that. Another is talking to neighbors. If you have a consumer collection matter, the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act or other debt collection acts may cover that, and you may not be able to talk to third parties about locating information or about asset information.
You've just heard the 5-Minute Legal Master, where expert attorneys help you master important legal topics. For more information on this and other topics, please visit 5minutelegalmaster.com.